There he is. That is a football player, folks. That's what a football player looks like right there. Jared Allen. So, it's funny, Jared, about I said Kirk Cousins' personality. He feels doubted, and he needed an offensive coach. And I said, just get him a guy that believes in him. They're going to do really well. They miss you. They don't have much of a defense. That concerns me. Jared, I just don't know if you can win a playoff game if you can't control the line of scrimmage. Are you a little concerned? This Giants matchup, I got to tell you, that scares me if I'm a Vikings fan. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean that's been the biggest misstep down the stretch I've noticed is that on both sides of the ball, the line of scrimmage isn't solidified right now, and they got some players, at least on the defensive side. You got a couple players. I know you guys, Zadarius Smith, more of a linebacker, but Daniil Hunter's playing kind of out of position. But the interior really needs to step up and really needs to shore up on the inside for them to have any chance of going anywhere in the playoffs. We used to always say, your front seven on both sides of the ball got to be tough come November, December, January to be able to go anywhere. So I think it's concerning. I agree with you. I think, like they said, Kirk Cousins finally has some confidence. He has a coach that, offensive coach, obviously, quarterback can help him go in that direction. I think the biggest thing the Vikings done have been balanced. You can tell when they're winning this season, they're balanced. Yep. Kurt might throw 25, 30 times a game. I've been saying for years, if Kurt doesn't have to throw the ball 40 times a game, you guys will be good. And that's not a knock to him. It's just, in this league, you got to be balanced, and he's able to play action. He's a really good play action quarterback, in my opinion. And so when you're able to, not force them to throw the ball 40 times a game, I think you're pretty good. And you have to do that by running the ball, playing good defense, which comes back to our front sevens have to be good. So yeah. I'm concerned that's the stretch. I like the fact that they went in to Chicago and won.
Yeah.
I think that's telling, because that's not something we've done very well over the history of that franchise, is going into Soldier Field no matter what the records are. So that's encouraging. And I hope, the couple bad losses and embarrassing losses they had, hopefully that wakes them up and they go on a nice run and win the whole thing.
So you were in seven playoff games. You had 4 or 5 sacks. It's really interesting. The season is 3 seasons. There's pre-Thanksgiving. Everybody looks good. The weather's warm. Everybody's track is fat. Everybody's flying. And it's post-Thanksgiving where physicality. And then there's the playoffs. And it's hard. It just looks and feels like different football. So take my audience to the difference between even November, December football and playoff football. How do these games this weekend feel different, Jared?
Oh, the energy level in the building is just different. When you're playing to win and go home, it's a different story. The fans really, honestly, I think the fans will make it different, because obviously nothing changes amongst, the properties of football, so to speak. The field's the same, the players are the same. The energy level is picked up. The sense of, the sense of urgency comes over you, knowing you have to play. And to be honest, playoff football is totally different from what you said, pre-Thanksgiving football. Pre-Thanksgiving football, guys are still worried about stats, right? Guys are still trying to make the Pro Bowl. Guys are still trying to position themselves, and whatever that is. There's contract, incentives you're trying to reach, and then you get into December. Now you're trying to win championships. I look at November, December. That's when you're trying to win your division championships, and then you get into playoffs where it generally comes back to football at its core, where it's team first, because it's win and go home. There's no personal accolades that are going to go anywhere or that stick with you for the season. And so you really kind of come back to that core of team first. And I think that's what kind of pushes you to that next level, because everybody's playing for the guy next to him.
It's interesting. I never think Favre and Aaron Rodgers are the same personality, but they've become a little bit. What's crazy, Jared? Hear me out on this. They become the same guy. And I always call it Packer quarterback syndrome. There's no owner, so nobody to call you out for your BS. It's the smallest town in the world, so there's no other pro teams. You are like the Pope. You get really powerful, and you can hold the team a little hostage. Whereas Jerry Jones, with the owners, if you ticked them off, they just get rid of you. And so Favre at the end was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. He talked retirement. And and he's great. But Aaron now is, I don't know if I want to play. I don't know. And I said, well, heck, I could get what happened the last 3 years at the end of the year. I could get that out of Jordan Love. Like, if you're going to make me walk on eggshells, you got to give me a bigger payoff than losing at Lambeau. What do you make of this Aaron Rodgers situation? Is it time to rip the Band-Aid off?
Well, I mean, it is, right? I wouldn't, I mean, yes, he's got him hostage, but I mean, first of all, let's just say, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, phenomenal player, right? I mean, Brett Favre, phenomenal player. So take that out. Take all the games that they've won out. You got to go look where their cap is at, right? I mean, it becomes a math game at some point. You keep throwing all this money at the guy, and he himself isn't going to take you to the promised land. You know what I mean? I mean, he's going to win you 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe games a year. He played decent, I think, kind of to get them back, the Packers back into the situation, get back into the playoff hunt there to win and get it. But I mean, here you are, win and you're in at home, and you lose. He needs people around him, right? And I think he's saying that without saying that. But when you go and hold the team hostage and you get what? I mean, I'm all for about people getting paid, get as much money as you can get. But when the team into you for $300 million or whatever it is, and you don't have a surrounding cast, you then don't get to go gripe and bitch about not having a surrounding cast or players to help you.
Right.
And I think that's where they're at in Green Bay right now. They have so much financially tied to Aaron Rodgers, and he's earned every dime of it. But you look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady wants to win rings. Tom Brady constantly worked his contract to have players around him, and I think he understood the role players and how to have those around him. And I think for a long time, Green Bay, I mean, Aaron Rodgers would have benefited from having a solid run game in Green Bay. They show spurts of it. They have it at times. They have players at times. But I can't remember over the past, 10 years where they've had a really, really good run game. And you go back to looking at Brett when Green Bay, when he won the Super Bowl with them, they had a great run game.
Yeah.
And, so I think no matter how good your quarterback is, you got to be balanced. You got to be able to run the ball, and he needs help. And so unless Green Bay or unless Aaron Rodgers is willing to completely, work contracts and rework, whatever it is to get the right players in there to help him, I mean, they might as well part ways and just start fresh and let him go somewhere that's got players. They'll pay him a whole bunch more money and let him go and try to win another Super Bowl.
You're going to be a Hall of Famer, I believe, and should be. And you've been in this league. You played at Idaho State, if I remember. I'm from the Pacific Northwest, so I think it's the Idaho Vandals and the Idaho State Bengals, or something like that.
Bengals. There you go. Yes, you got it. Bengals. Not too many people know that.
Montana Grizzlies, Montana State Bobcats, Eastern Eagles. I'm from up that territory. So you spent some time with the Vikings. You spent time with the Chiefs. And one of the things I love about the NFL is the Midwest is represented. The Vikings are in, the Packers are good, the Chiefs. Kansas City is a blast. What do you make? You still have a lot of contacts in the league. Mahomes is insane. He's insane. When you talk to your buddies in the NFL that ever face Mahomes, because you have some of your heart in Kansas City, what do you make of that story in Mahomes? What do they say about that kid?
So I don't know anybody. Most of my people I know in the league now are like personnel people, right? That's how old I'm getting. Trainers and that kind of deal. But I think when you look at Mahomes, you look at what he does is he's a really good fundamental quarterback that can do some crazy unfundamental things, right? And you just, I mean, I don't know. I honestly, when I talk to people on how they want to defend him, I look at, kind of when the Bills play him or people that have had success with them, A-gap pressure is huge against him.
Yeah.
You don't, as great as he is out of the pocket, I'll always take a quarterback on the run versus being able to sit back there and just make plays in the pocket. That'll kill you. So, I mean, I think if your D tackles, if you're just talking about fronts, if your D tackles can get pressure on Mahomes up the middle, then your edge guys can actually rush and contain and you kind of really, I mean, it's so cliche, but you have to just collapse that pocket, whether it's A-gap blitz, whatever it is. But he's special. I mean, I think you look at the difference.